Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Wait a second. Children of all ages. Isn't this show rated explicit? Yeah, that doesn't sound right. We're going to be using a lot of adult no-no words. Ladies and gents, we're proud to present to you the Spinning Our Gears podcast. As a reminder, the issues, views, and opinions discussed on the podcast are those of the hosts and their guests and do not reflect those of any department, agency, city, municipality, state, or country. All stories, characters, and individuals discussed on the podcast should be considered fictional for entertainment value, especially if there's any Blue Falcons listening in. Listener discretion is advised. If you don't like it, hit the big X and find something else. Otherwise, without further ado, here are your hosts, Turk and Swagger. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Spinning Our Gears. I'm Turk. He was the captain of the first ever Jamaican bobsled team, and together, we're just a couple of cops spinning our gears. Swagger, what are you doing, man?
That was not an accurate statement. For several reasons. A, I'm not a bobsledder. B, I'm not Jamaican. And I'm not an Olympic athlete, so...
You're saying you didn't get gold?
No, man. But
you didn't flip the bobsled?
I would have. I would have 100% flipped the bobsled, yes. I actually probably would have fallen down face first on the ice going down the hill. And then holding on.
You never would have made it in the bobsled?
No, absolutely not, no. No way, man. Nope.
Well, dude, has it been 3 weeks since we last did one of these?
Yeah, man, dude, it's been a while. Been busy.
It's been a long time.
Trying to catch up on life, living life and fast forward at the moment, as you know. So yeah. We'll run those details by everybody later, but it's been an interesting it's been an interesting last few weeks. So, but yeah, been just working and hanging out with the family and getting shit done around the house. So, what about you, man? Yeah. What have you been up to?
It's been a lot of the same. I'm finally on a set shift. I'm not getting bounced around a bunch, so it's been a lot of, working and coming home and seeing the family and repeating, and now we're here.
That's awesome. Yeah, man, the family time is important, though. So.
Absolutely. It goes towards the mental health and, for some of us, the physical health also. You know, we don't need our wives beating us up.
No. No, stay away from the domestic assaults, everybody.
Well, I hope everyone can hear us pretty clearly. We've been doing a lot of research these past few weeks. I think it's kind of part of the reason we haven't put an episode out. And I think we've kind of finally got it locked down to a method that should make us sound a lot clearer.
Yeah, you're 100% going to take credit for this, aren't you?
I mean, I can.
Yeah, you should. I didn't do that. You did all the research.
Well, I wasn't.
You should have heard.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not
trying to explain this whole thing to me.
It's not my method, but it's my research, I guess.
I'm sitting over here for like the first, 15 minutes that we're on talking to each other, doing this new thing, trying to figure this whole thing out. I'm sitting over here just scratching my head. And then we managed to set off the alarm in my house. I mean, trying to find
total
parts.
Chaos.
Yeah, trying to find parts to piece this problem together. Oh, epic. Hit the motion detector.
Well, but like I said, hopefully it does sound better. And to kind of go with this, we thought this could help out just because sometimes we have that conflicting schedules and family things going on. We can't always get together to do an episode. With this method, the way that we're doing it, I think things will work out where if Swagger's got something on his mind, or if I got something on my mind, or if like something happens current event-wise, one of us or both of us could do a recording, and if we both do a recording, say like a law changes or an officer involved incident takes place, we could just butt those up, and that could be kind of cool to see each of our takes separately. Or like I said, if Swagger's pissed off about something, like maybe some two-way gun rights, and he wants to just do I don't want to call it a blog, but maybe just a rant, he can do that, and we'll get it uploaded. I don't think we'll call it a bonus episode, but we'll do something along those lines. I think it's pretty cool opportunity.
Yeah, And we've been looking into trying to add some stuff onto YouTube. I kind of changed up my YouTube channel, started adding that stuff in there and messing around with it. My YouTube channel that I'm using right now is literally just a preliminary thing to try to see where our errors are in making certain things. So hopefully the way we're doing this recording now, we'll be able to upload to YouTube and put some things on that as well. And then maybe along the lines, if we want to go live ever and do an in-person show and the rest of the world knows who we are, we can just add it up to YouTube and take that route. But these are kind of the steps you have to take when doing a podcast after, we've researched it and then hearing from other people who have done podcasts and what they've known or done. So this is kind of one of those stepping stones. So hopefully this is going to work out, which I think it is. It's looking great so far at the moment.
Yeah. And I'll have to be honest, I have not had a second to even look at YouTube like you have. I kind of focused on this side of things. Hopefully we can get that collab together, either have a joint account or mesh two together. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but I think it'll work just fine.
Yeah, we'll get it sorted out though. I've been uploading stuff on YouTube for a little while just for like playing Warzone and whatever. The nerd in me is coming out, and just because there's some cool shit, that can take place while you're playing that game. But I was like, you know what, I got to share this with somebody, and like got like a couple views. It's like not a big deal, but
well, I don't know if you know this, but our wives got together and had almost got us doing a live recording this past week. We just weren't quite ready for that yet. They wanted to kind of do a collab with their Etsy groups and then us, but just didn't pan out. It would have been cool, but
yeah, they were trying to talk. My wife was trying to talk us into doing something live at like a farmer's market. I'm like,
yeah, I know.
Oh man,
I thought it could have been a cool idea, but at the same time, are we ready for that? Does anybody want to see our faces?
Well, probably not. Especially in the city of Icarus, if we wanted to do a farmer's market over there.
I thought about that too. If someone were to pop in and all of a sudden now we're caught,
or they come over and violate my First Amendment right. Oh man,
that's not something they would do, would it?
I don't think so. The majority of them know.
Well, yeah. I think the frontline officers would not, but I think maybe some of the admin over there at Icarus might.
Probably.
Tell you what, the last 3 weeks we haven't had a chance to catch up. Did you know that we got screwed over?
God, I don't know. Did we? How?
Yeah, we did. We got screwed over by a company that we thought was with us. And the whole reason the way they screwed us over was they got me fucking addicted to their coffee.
I'm like, where's this going? I can feel the blood vessel in my neck starting to pulsate. Like, what are you talking about?
Just a little joke.
Inside joke, everybody.
No, Risen Warrior coffee is delicious. Obviously, we've been partnered with them for a little bit, but I may have a little bit of an addiction.
I'm sure you do. You're a huge coffee drinker, and I'm just starting, and I'm just getting into the weeds of it. I've had a couple cups of it now. It's still good. My daughter is still, my 14-year-old is still on me to just let her, brew her own. Yeah, and I'm like, no. Said, I don't want you to get addicted to coffee at such a young age, because it is addictive.
Well, I figured out this little trick. And it's kind of funny because I used to make fun of an old lieutenant for doing this. He used to drink coffee as like a pre-workout. And I was like, what are you doing? Because like for me, when I work out, I tend to burp, maybe a little too much information, but I don't like having that taste of like coffee come up when I burp. But I figured out that if you take some of that dark roast from Risen Warrior and you mix in some of that pre-mixed protein, like chocolate milk, oh, buddy. It's like the perfect pre-workout and like protein inside of it and mellows it out for your whole workout. And then when you get back, you finish off the rest of it.
Oh, that sounds like relatively intense.
No, it's very good. It's very smooth, very good.
I may have to try it.
Just a little.
I think that's something.
Just a little life
venture on your own. Try it and see how it works for everybody.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, you have to. It's trial and error. The nice thing is that their stuff is very reasonably priced, so you can afford to do that trial and error. But just a little life hack that I came up with.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I may give it.
If you guys out there, well, I was just gonna say, if you guys out there have a little life hack with coffee, go on over to www.spinningourgears.com. Send us an email. Let us know. But the only way that you're going to find out those life hacks is if you go to www.risenwarriorcoffee.com or reach out to any one of their socials. Check out the stuff they got going on there. It sounds like they've got some fall flavors coming out, which could be pretty good. Don't forget to use code Turk and Swagger. That's Turk with the and sign and Swagger. Don't spell it and you get 10% off your first order.
Yes.
So,
that's awesome. I did see that post that they're having the fall stuff come out soon. They're like trying to reel everybody back. It sounds like there's a lot of people that are real excited for the fall. You know, the pumpkin spice ordeal.
Right. Right.
In coffee world, I've never had pumpkin spice. I don't know who has. I've heard it's delicious, but not me.
I'm not a big pumpkin guy.
Oh, really?
No, just
dude,
not.
I get those pumpkin bars at the grocery store in the fall. Oh, absolutely amazing.
No. Not for me.
All right.
But yeah, like I said, go to Risen Warrior Coffee, use code Turk and Swagger with the and sign. If you spell out if you spell out A-N-D, it's going to cost you 3 times as much. So make sure you use the and sign and you'll get 10% off your first order.
Yes. That's awesome.
It won't really cost you 3 times as much, but I just thought I'd throw that in there.
I think your math's a little off.
It might be a little off. I passed that post test though.
Well, yeah, did you?
I at least got the 70% that it required to become a police officer.
All right, there we go.
Oh, man. Well, I guess I did want to touch on something real quick, turning to something a little more serious. Kind of a little bit of irony in all this. I had literally just texted you the night before about kind of a show topic that I thought of, just kind of thinking about, the mentality of police officers today. And then also, ironically, I texted this person who's a close personal friend of you and me the night before. And then the next morning I woke up to a text message from him telling us that he got involved in the shit. Yeah. And luckily he's safe. Everyone went home safely. I'm not going to go into any more details. That's his story to tell, not ours. But I just wanted the guy to know, because I know that he listens to our podcast, that thinking of you, I'm proud of you, man. I love you. Keep staying strong.
Yeah, we love you. I hope you're doing well. And if you need anything, like we've said, just reach out to us and we'll show up, man. We'll drop everything for you.
Yep, 100%. So hopefully this episode will help kind of bring a sunny day for him, a little bright moment, a little laughter.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's just, hopefully we can do that for him.
What are we talking about? What are we going to talk about this week?
What are we going to talk about this week? Well, I figured we would talk about what to expect as a new officer going into the academy.
So is this going to be different than new boot goofing?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like new boot goofing was kind of like FTO into like rookie phase. This is more, you get picked up by a police department, they send you off to the academy to get certified. What are you going to deal with when you go there? Right.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited about this one. My experience coming from obviously the military and then going to, boot camp there and then coming and doing law enforcement academy. I think we'll be able to give you some tips and pointers on how to cheat the system, if you will, to make it into your benefit while you're at the academy, because it is difficult. There's going to be some struggle at the beginning of it and some testing of your your mentality and heart and character, and so but yeah, you got to stay strong and push through it, because nothing lasts forever.
Right. I think one of my friends told me, he put it in perspective, just kind of like the physical testing is like a half hour for the rest of your life. The academy is 12 weeks, 15 weeks, 6 months, or whatever it is for the rest of your life. You just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And if you can do that and get through it, then you got the whole rest of your life and the whole rest of your career to look forward to. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a really bright time of your life to get through something that's going to challenge you. And then at the end of the day, when you're done with it, you get to get your badge pinned on and hit the street and start your career in law enforcement. So obviously we'll probably touch base on kind of the different law enforcement academies, maybe in the state of Iowa, But then also, kind of comparing, like public safety versus, the state academy. And most state academies, or I guess public safety academies, are relatively militaristic, from my understanding, to a point.
Yeah.
So we'll touch on that and kind of give you some options. We were actually just talking about this, me and my new chief. We had an event, a community event the other day. We were talking to a couple officers that were in the DNR water patrol, and they are not certified police officers. They're just, doing water patrol for the summer, like part-time or whatever. Kind of talking about, venturing out and making sure that you ride along with every facet of law enforcement, whether it's local, state, going to like DNR, going and checking out the county units, maybe as much as you can with them, and getting an understanding as to where you kind of fit in and where you want to be at and what you want to do, because they're all relatively different in their own way.
So are those water patrol guys, those kind of like reserve deputies that we have here in Iowa? Yeah.
So crazy. And we were talking about it, that they have to use the verbal judo quite a bit because they have no gun, and they do have handcuffs and stuff like that, but they're boat patrol. They get out on the waterway and enforce, boat regulations, boating laws. But yeah, they're not, some of them aren't armed. And so I was like, Jesus, but they use the verbal judo, I guess.
I have it on good authority that those guys can effect arrests, and if you interfere with an investigation, they can effect an arrest on you.
Yeah, well, I've heard that to be the case. Even if you don't believe so.
They didn't need the academy, but they can pull that off.
Yep.
And that will stick with you for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like a decade or more.
I think probably the rest of your life.
Anywho, let's pop smoke.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned it, though. Most academies, from what I've seen, do have that kind of that paramilitaristic style to them. And I think at least the one that we went to definitely had that going on, or they at least tried to mimic that. But how was that for you compared to like actual military boot camp?
Well, I kind of got drawn, the question got asked is who served in the military right off the bat. And, everybody who served in the military rose their hand. And then the second question was who was a Marine? And I was the only one in my class that was. So I got called out immediately for uniform inspection because they knew my shit was going to be on point. Yeah. So, and I shit you not, dude. I didn't want to get fucked with, so I wore my Corps frames from the Marine Corps, which are like, you know what those are. If you work in, if you're doing the like honor guard and stuff, you have the really dressy looking shoes, or boots, and so that's what I wore for my first inspection, and the instructor that was up there was in the DPS instructor, or he was a DPS, a state trooper, working at the state academy now. And he is like, he goes, next time we're not going to wear those. We're going to polish those boots. I'm like, damn it, you caught me. So, if you've served in the military, they're definitely going to look at you for some leadership and direction. Everybody that was in my class that was in the military had a pretty well-off time. I mean, it didn't matter what branch of service you were in. I don't think any of us really struggled. So if you've done that, you should be fine. If you haven't done that, you shouldn't have to worry too much either. I've seen guys who are pushing 50 years old make it through that academy. So, it is all just kind of the team morale, and they're going to test you for the first few weeks and try to break you, which is rightfully so, because, life's tough sometimes.
Well, I think that at least for my class that I went through, they tested you for a little bit. But then at one point we had a kid that was able to take time off of PT because he had blisters on his feet. Like, you're not going to see that in like the normal military, and I don't think you're going to see that in a lot of other police academies. No. Some of the stuff that I've seen is like there are some police academies in other states that literally take it as if it was a military boot camp, and you're arriving on a bus, and the first, you're going through inspections and PT right away or as soon as you get off that bus. The academy that we went to wasn't quite the same. It definitely was a little more laid back.
Right. Yeah, we were out.
So
when we were out in the field at the academy we went to, and that same instructor that I was talking about took me over to the DPS's. We were kind of doing like a felony stops over in that area, and he in their little parking lot that they have, and he took me over to the gold, the yellow footprints that are out there on their property grounds that they make all the new recruits for the State Patrol stand on. Well, it's the same thing the Marine Corps does. When you get off the bus in San Diego or Parris Island, you got to stand on the yellow footprints. It's like it's a world-renowned thing. Everybody knows that that's where your first steps are, and you stand there at the position of attention for relatively substantial amount of time, waiting for everybody else to get off the bus. But yeah, he made me come over there and stand on that. He's like, "Does this bring back memories to you?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Like, Jesus, I'm gonna have nightmares.
So maybe a little bit of PTSD.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, I think before we jump in too far, I think we should kind of explain. So like we're talking in our state in Iowa, there's different ways of going through the academy, and there's the DPS academy that Swagger was talking about. That's the State Patrol Academy. It's quite a bit longer than the State Academy, which is what he and I went through. I think when I went through, it was 13 weeks. It might be up to like 16 now.
Yeah, I think
but it's actually one of the shortest ones in the country. There's also what's called, I think it's like a satellite mini academy. So if you went through a certain college and went through their criminal justice program, if they're qualified to do so, they can put on their own academy as well, which is usually like 6 or 8 weeks, which is pretty a short amount of time. But because they viewed it as you going through that criminal justice program of being 2 years, they're looking at it as like having more training than someone just going straight to the academy. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but that's kind of how Iowa views it.
Right. Yeah, it's different all around. So
states out there where everything goes through their DPS. So even if you're going to be a local yokel sheriff, you have to go through their DPS academy with the state troopers. And I want to say that maybe Michigan and maybe Texas are work like that. I can't remember for sure the states that I saw, but some of them do work like that.
Yeah, is that. Do you know if that the level of those academies are like the more militaristic versus like what we went at the law enforcement academy we went through? I believe so. Okay, so like. Yeah. I'm not saying that the law enforcement academy we went through didn't have that paramilitaristic ideology, especially right off the beginning. They're going to yell at you, they're going to try to break you, and there's nothing wrong with that. But some of these academies, they literally are going to do that to you the whole time.
Yep. And yep. You're not getting a break from day one to day end.
Right. You may get built back up like in the Marine Corps. The first 2 phases in the Marine Corps, especially the first phase in the Marine Corps, they literally break you down to nothing. Like, talk shit about you, talk shit about your family, tell you. Yep. I mean, they tell you like your Dear John issues, like your girlfriend's back home banging somebody else. I mean, they try to play mind games with you. I mean, I saw a dude. My rack mate, actually. I mean, he got fucking like choked out with like a war belt, like a belt.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Like it's a lot different. That shit doesn't happen at the academy we went to. They will yell at you. They will scream at you. They will put you, to do push-ups and all this other extra physical exertion, right? But they're not going to put their hands on you or anything like that. So if you're in Iowa, you don't really have to concern yourself with that. I don't believe the DPS Academy would do that either. So
I don't think so. I think really for me, I didn't really notice a lot of the yelling and screaming. There was the physical exertion and the whole class needs to be loud, but I didn't see any of the beat down type stuff. Right. I think, like you said, I think the State Patrol Academy is going to be a lot more intensive. I know for a fact it's going to be a lot more intensive. One of the other things that I was going to mention, so like in Iowa, you can either be hired by an agency and go through the academy, or you can be sponsored by an agency, which just means some agency did some sort of background check and said that they would sponsor you to go to the academy, but you're paying for yourself. We actually had someone in the class adjacent to us that did that. That she paid her entire way through the academy in hopes to get a job. I think that, I know for a fact there are some states out there where you have to pay for the academy. You have to sign up for it. It's kind of like your version of college, and then you go out and start applying. So you could be certified, but it doesn't mean shit until you get hired somewhere. There are other states where the only way to get in is you've been hired and they're putting you through it. So there is a little bit of a difference between one state to the other throughout the country.
Right. Yeah. Well, and the other thing is if you're getting into law enforcement and you're going to go to an academy, be prepared, like nowadays in law enforcement, at least here in Iowa, to sign a contract, because you get a lot of people at smaller agencies that will use that smaller agency to go to the academy, but then they literally will graduate the academy and go somewhere else. And it hurts, it hurts a small community that you're not sticking around to help them out when you just bounce ship because they just put all that money that they invested in you and then you just left. So a lot of these places are putting people on contracts now. So that's something to look out for, and you got to honor that. Otherwise, you're going to end up paying it back. Or I have heard recently that one of the other options that some agencies are trying to do is if you went through the academy and you are refusing to pay the money back because after you left, that they're going to potentially try to decertify you, which I don't know if I agree with that. I think that's a bit ridiculous and pretty much extreme, but they kind of have to have reasonable grounds to do so. They can't just say, I guess the other thing that I would suggest is when it comes to those contracts, make sure that you're reading those things over and you know what you're signing up for. Yep. As it turns out, an agency is not allowed to sign you up for a contract that includes academy fees and wages and like insurance and stuff like that was covered throughout. For the most part, from my understanding, they can only charge you for the academy fees if you were to leave before that contract is up. Yeah. That's actually something that the agency that I went through, my first agency, they had a contract that they were including wages and everything like that. And it turns out that's unethical. Someone else took them to court and they lost, and that got taken out for everyone. But just make sure that you know what you're signing when you sign it. It does not hurt to say, hey, can I have someone look at this first? They might not, I guess they might take away the job offer, but that might also tell you what you're signing up for. Right. Well, and that's the thing. So they can't take your wages away from you. I'm not an attorney, I'm not trying to be. I have talked to lots of attorneys. But what I'm trying to say is that there is the Fair Labor Standards Act, I think is what it is, FLSA or whatever, that if you were working, they have to pay you the money. They cannot not pay you the money. So, but the academy fee itself is money that they put forward to the city or to the training for you. They can then require you to pay that back if it's a contract. But your wages, absolutely not. So if that does happen to you or that did happen to you, I recommend you find a good labor law attorney and sue the shit out of them.
Well, and so that was the issue with my first agency was no one would take it to court because they just figured they would spend as much in attorney fees as they would on the contract. Someone must have left early enough that it was going to save them some money, and that ended up, benefiting all of us. But one other thing that they can do is they can, I'm not sure if this is the same way in all other states, but in Iowa, an agency has up to a year to send you to the academy. Mm-hmm. So you could, in theory, be working for your agency for a year before going to the academy, and they can postpone that contract from starting until after you're back from the academy. So you could sign up for a 3-year contract that doesn't start almost a year into your employment.
Right. So that's also something else to keep an eye out for if that's the road you're going down in that direction. Make sure you understand that before you go or before you sign anything for that purpose, because that can't happen.
Yeah. Well, now that we've covered the backstory for the academy, I guess we jump back into it.
We covered the legality side of it. That's good. This is good.
You guys just got free legal advice. So if you want to head over to our website and give us a donation, you can do that.
I'm trying to go to law school now, so if anybody wants to pay my way through that, that'd be great.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, just getting back on track with the whole academy side of things. Like, I remember my first day, I guess I went down the day before the academy started. They let you spend the night. No one had any idea what to expect. It's just a bunch of random people finding their dorms and their barracks and trying to get a couple hours of sleep before they wake up. But yeah, that first day, it was reveille at 6 o'clock in the morning and inspections by 6:30.
Yeah. Well, I actually was pretty fortunate because I didn't have anybody that I went to the academy with that from our old agency, which is, I guess, maybe rare. I don't know. But I go to that testing, that physical fitness test to, qualify that you can go through the academy, right? It's like a couple weeks prior to the academy starting or whatever. I run into a dude I played Little League Baseball with who was going to be in my class. I haven't seen the guy in like 10 years. Prior to that, I'm like,
that's some small world shit.
Yeah, I'm like, holy shit, what are you doing here? And then we ended up in the same class. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. So that was good because at least I knew him, But everybody else, I had no clue who they were. I had to meet new people. So which is good because then it's kind of like going to college. You meet all these new people. It's networking.
I remember looking back on it, it's kind of funny, but I remember being so nervous that first day, like what's going to happen, what's going to be involved, and I think it was like within an hour they had us out like, running friggin' 2 miles or 3 miles through snow and doing like sit-ups and jumping jacks and push-ups and shit in the snow. And it was a little nerve-wracking that first day, that paramilitary, God, dude, I can't say it.
You'll get it.
That paramilitaristic part of it. But yeah, looking back, wasn't that bad. Again, like we said, one foot in front of the other, you'll be fine and you'll get through it and then you'll be on to the rest of your life.
Yep. Yeah, just, I was just going to say, make sure that you're, staying out of trouble at the academy. One other story that I had about my time there was, and I hope that they listen to this freaking podcast, but one of the guys in our class got caught speeding on his way up the day of to be to class. They're running behind and got traffic stopped by a state trooper. And so he was doing, a certain amount over the speed limit. But he was doing, what the speed was that he was clocked at, we had to do a push-up for. And it was like, yeah, dude. So it sucked. And it was on the interstate.
Well, so I remember getting the warning going down. And this could just be like the blanket warning they gave everyone to try to scare them. But I was told like the police officers in the city where the academy is at had like a 0 tolerance policy. So like if you get pulled over, you will get ticketed and like they will call and let us know and stuff like that. And I don't know if that was true, but so I remember everyone being nervous and like doing 10 miles an hour under the speed limit so they didn't get pulled over.
It's a good scare tactic. Absolutely.
It absolutely is. Yeah. Where was I going with that?
I have no clue. you asked the question.
Part, I guess. I didn't even ask a question.
You asked where was I going with that. I said I have no clue.
Oh, I asked it. Yeah. Oh, you're right. No, yeah, that was part of it. It was mind your P's and your Q's, which is obviously a good thing to do. Don't go down there with a cocky attitude or a big head because they will weed that shit out real quick.
Yeah, we have seen a person who was at our old PD who was after both of us getting hired on there that had a really cocky attitude that did not play out so well for him. So, and I bet you
I'm trying to think of which one it was.
You'll figure it out.
Did they make it through the academy?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Did not make it through the training.
That's part of the other part is I've experienced some people that didn't, well, they either made it through the academy and then got fired their first day on FTO, or they didn't make it all the way through the academy.
I had that dude ride with me for a ride along one time, and I swear to you, I wanted to hit, like, if we had like an eject button on the seat, like I wanted to hit that thing like maybe an hour into that ride along. I was like, I have 7 more hours with this guy. Jesus.
The ejectocito button.
I know, dude. I know it. Oh. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So getting back into it, I think one of the things that I took away was that it kind of reminded me it was very similar to high school. Yeah. Like, especially with all the personalities you're going to deal with, you're going to make some friends, but then you're also going to have like that one guy that is just a complete kiss ass that thinks kissing the instructor's asses is going to get them like extra points or something, or like validate their life, and you just got to kind of put up with those guys.
Yeah. Well, so how big was your academy class?
I want to say we had almost 30.
Okay, see, we were pretty small. We only had like 22 or 23, I think. And we, surprisingly enough, had a pretty good, humble class. I cannot think of anybody that we had an issue. We had a problem child who we tried to tell the academy, like get rid of her. Because she was causing all sorts of issues. And then like later on in life, after we cleared the academy, she ended up getting arrested for domestic. So yeah, we're like, we told you, because they wouldn't do it. And I'm like, as police officers, you're supposed to be good judges of character, and we knew the bullshit that she was doing right off the bat. We could read it, and and it turned around and bit her in the ass, bit her agency in the ass, and bit the academy in the ass. So, well,
that is one thing though. You are going to run into some people that are just not cut out for the job,
right?
And maybe they had a really good interview somewhere, or maybe the agency was just that hard up for officers. But you don't want to be a dickhead to them and like ignore them the whole academy. But you also don't want to maybe some of them are good people and you can be friends with, but some of them you can tell are not there for the right reasons. And you're going to want to distance yourself from that because you don't want to start off your career associated with something like that, I guess is what I want to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So,
like, having a train run on you in a bathroom.
Oh, Jesus.
Probably is an indicator that you shouldn't be a police officer.
No. Yeah, no, don't do that. That's like that's like rule number 1 when you get to the academy is we're I think we're covering a lot of rules here today, but rule number 1 is like don't do anything, don't fornicate with anybody, stay away from that, and then just don't do that. And I think that is the first rule that is said to everybody there, because it never turns out well for anybody. And,
right. I think they said that. They said, how did they put it? Because and I was going to get into this a little bit later about like the different type of instructors you have there, but the one that was like, he was in charge, even though he wasn't in charge, was the firearms guy. Mm-hmm. And I think the way he put it that first day was like, you're not in love, you're just bored. So keep your dick in your pants. So
that's great advice.
Like that was rule 1. And then rule 2 was, you're going to break something here. Someone's going to get drunk and break it. Just report it. Don't try to cover it up.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. When you went through, because you went through a few years before I did, were you guys still able to drink? Were there people able to drink alcohol down like in the cafeteria area?
No, I think it was supposed to all be off campus, which was, so to explain this to listeners not from Iowa, the academy was on, is that an Army base or a National Guard base?
Yeah, I think it's a National Guard base.
So like, as long as you weren't on the academy's strip of property, they could drink, or they could go to the local bar that was like just down the road, but you couldn't drink at the academy itself.
Right. And you only had like a couple days a week that you got to leave base.
Yeah, that was the thing too. Yep. There was only like 2 days you could leave a week. It might even been less than that. I can't remember for sure. But yeah, those were one of the rules, that you weren't allowed to go out, even though people were still drinking, people were still acting a fool. We actually had an instructor that was trading whiskey with other classmates because they might have had some special whiskey from their area of Iowa, but yeah. Well,
somewhere along the lines prior to us, somebody fucked up the fact that you couldn't drink actually on the academy campus, because apparently you could at one point. And there's
really?
Yeah. And there's been tons of stories that I've heard that you could, but now you can't. And unless that's changed in the past, several years, it's to my understanding you cannot.
I'm sure something got broken or somebody threw up on something and that got it all taken away.
Right, which is probably why it's rule number 2.
Yeah. Well, and then this was something that you and I didn't experience, but kind of threw a wrench into everything. COVID hit, And so they were doing a lot of remote, like online classes. And then there was another class that happened to have like black mold that was exposed, which we all knew about. We were all like, it's like fucking disgusting. But, oh no, it was a gas leak that led to them finding this black mold and testing it. And so all of these boots were moved off campus and they were like put in dorms.
Yeah. Like
so they had it.
Pretty serious issue because, I mean, it's on the news. You can Google it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we had a guy.
Several classes after that were babied, though, for quite a while.
Yeah. Well, they were trying not to get sued, I think. They were like, hey, well, I'll scratch your back. You scratch mine. Okay.
But you're going to experience a wide group of people. You're going to see some guys that are, they're just there to collect a paycheck. You're going to see some guys, and I say guys, obviously I mean guys and girls. But you're going to see some people there that this is their career field. This is what they have a passion to do. This is what they want to do. You're going to see some people that, like I said before, have no reason being there. They're there for all the wrong reasons. And then you're just going to see some of those weird people, which, hell, that might have been me for all I know.
Oh, man.
I was just going to say, you're going to experience you're going to have a lot of different stories, which kind of, this was something, we had a sergeant at Icarus. I don't know if he told you this, but he always made it a point when people would come back from the academy, he'd say, no one wants to hear your academy story, so shut the fuck up.
Oh, I know who exactly you're talking about. Yeah.
The very first briefing back.
Yep.
Which was funny because I had already been certified, got hired from another agency, and he told me that, and I said, oh no, I've been through the academy, I already working or whatever, and he goes, we don't want to hear any fucking jail stories, so shut the fuck up.
I don't want to hear
yes,
any
sir.
of your shit.
Sounds good.
You know what? Better yet, I don't even want to see you. Yeah, you go do something. I don't want to see you for the next 8 hours. Okay. Yep, got it.
What about you? Do you have any good stories coming from the academy?
Not really. I mean, like I said, we were pretty well behaved. We were pretty close knit and stuff. So, we did have a kind of an older academy class, I would say, in age. So I think that the maturity level was there. The junior class to us, which we'll get into that. Typically, at our academy in Iowa, there's 2 classes going on at the same time. And one, back when we went through, one was the senior class, the other one was junior class. Now I think they start at the same time. They're just A and B or something. But
oh, really?
I think so. But anyway, the junior class to us, and I'm not saying that because I'm biased, they were a lot younger and a little bit more immature. Obviously, they had quality individuals. I'm not saying that they didn't, but there was some that were there in that class that were headaches for the more mature recruits at the academy, the boots at the academy. So yeah, we got to hear all the older guys, their stories, because they were always hanging out with us, trying to. They would rather have transferred to our class, I think, than to remain in that class. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen. So
see, my class was the senior class, and I think we were the headaches, or at least some of the guys in our class were the headaches.
Yeah, you never really know what you're going to get or who you're going to get. So
we had a couple of guys, I think they might have been enjoying some adult beverages that night, and they decided to play what we called the cuff wars, which was you threw a pair of handcuffs on the ground, and whoever got the other person at least one handcuff on won. And they went through one of the walls in the hallway.
Oh yeah.
actually put a giant hole in it. Had to report that, so we paid for that the next morning.
And I bet.
We had. So this will open your eyes up. If you're someone who should be in law enforcement, you're doing it for all the right reasons. You're going to see some stuff that's going to make you go, "What the fuck?" And a lot of those are going to happen on the firing range.
Oh yeah.
I've seen some of the goofiest shit I've ever seen at the academy. I don't even know how to quantify it. We had one guy who was using a shotgun and was shooting into the ground at the 25-yard line.
Oh my God.
He was hitting the ground 10 yards away. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? He goes, oh, the sights must be off. And I'm I think maybe that's a negligent discharge, what that was.
The good old sight excuse. Yeah. I think my sights are off.
Well, then you see the instructor come in and grab it and like shoot perfect 100 scores, and yeah.
Right. Ain't nothing wrong with that gun there, bud. It's no.
But then yes, that kind of brings you on. You have that wider range of students or boots or whatever you want to call them. You're going to have the same thing for the instructors. At least the flavors that I got were kind of all over the place. I don't know how other states do it. They might have their shit scored away, but for us, there was definitely a wide range of who we had and the quality of what we had. Right.
Yeah, it's you never really know what you're gonna get with that. So
yeah. So like we had some really good ones. Like I said, that firearms instructor, he was squared away. I think he should have been the director of the entire academy, and I think he just didn't want to deal with it. Mm-hmm. But then you've also that are like washouts from the departments they came from, and they're just looking to further their career and collect their pension. Yep. Like we had a guy that was in charge of not domestic assault. He was in charge of defensive tactics, and he would show up 10 minutes late. We'd mess around for like 10, 15 minutes, and then he'd be like, all right, go back to the dorms and hide and don't be seen. Like, that's one of the most important things we're doing, and he's slacking off. Like, just that kind of blew my mind entirely.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good for it's not good for your development or anybody really, but they ended up getting rid of that guy before I got there. So the guy we had was pretty squared away, and so, but yeah, like I agree with you with the firearms instructor that should be the director or should have been the director. Yeah, that too political of a position, I think, for him. So
well, yeah, that was something else that I wrote down, was that you're going to have some people there that are basically career politicians, and this is another stop for them to, I guess, pad their resume and try to look better for wherever they're looking to go. Right. How was your the head of the academy when you were there? I can't remember if it was the same one I had. Was it a female or a male?
Female.
Was it? Did she have initials as her first name?
I don't know.
Like, did she go by her initials and then a nickname and then her last name?
I don't know that either. I honestly didn't care to concern myself. You know, like, honestly, like, I was there to do something and just accomplish it and get the fuck out of there. Like, you know,
did this director teach a class?
No.
Okay, so then we had different directors entirely.
Okay. Yeah, so...
And mine was something else. Like, made it a point to teach the report writing class that we'd have once a week, and the only thing she taught was a spelling test every week. That was it.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I learned that in English class back in high school, but okay. Shit, I learned that back in, like, kindergarten, English, you know.
Right.
Language arts, spelling. Got it. Something to prep for, I guess, that, you know, make sure you're getting physically ready for the physical fitness of the academy, because that is going to be relatively demanding. I mean, it's not like they're going to go out and absolutely slay you, but, you know, if you're not in, you know, elite level shape, it's going to be a workout, you know, for what it's worth. There are certain instructors that will push those a little bit harder than others for obvious reasons, but make sure you're prepared physically, fitness wise, to go. You're eating healthy and all that stuff, even though the food is not the most healthiest of food choice options that you get.
Oh, but it was garbage.
Yeah.
Well, but to what you said, I think I'm almost positive there's obviously standards to get in, but didn't we have to improve those standards by a certain % to test out?
Yeah, you gotta make improvement, is what it sounded like.
Yeah. So if you don't do that, you could spend 10, 12, 35 weeks, whatever it is, in an academy, and then fail out at the end of it because you didn't improve your physical standards.
Right. Yeah, I hate to tell some people to start off sandbagging. You know, like that sounds
just
so
do the
bad.
bare minimum.
Right. That sounds terrible. But if that's going to be you're going to make improvement. You should make improvement anyway. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody not make improvement, but I mean, I guess if you want like an abundance of improvement towards your, like, your difference from when you started to the end. You know, if you want to see the greatest growth, I guess, you know, you're going to have to put in quite a bit of work.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I think, you know, sans an injury, with the amount of physical fitness they're going to have you doing, I think you're just naturally going to improve no matter what.
Right.
So it's just something to be prepared for. Don't slack off the entire time. Make sure you're taking it seriously, because you don't want to get that close to the end and then fail, is what I guess I'm getting at.
Yep. So. Nothing to really be worried about. I mean, there's going to be some good workouts that you're going to do, and you're going to feel accomplished when you're done with them. So kind of a topic I want to talk about is the old taser versus OC debate. Which one would you rather have?
Taser 100 times over.
Yes, absolutely. So you get to do that at the academy as well. So that's something to look forward to. Now, there is another debate on whether or not the academy has become too soft on the newer generation with OC in them. And I would have to say yes. I would say that they probably need to take a full-on spray to the eyes and then continue to fight through the pain and issues of the OC. But that apparently doesn't happen anymore. So,
well, yep. So like what Swagger's alluding to there is when he and I went through for like OC certification, you took like a 4-hour PowerPoint class or whatever it was, and then you'd go outside and you'd literally get sprayed in the eyes with OC, and they'd have a little mini like DT course you'd have to go through, and then they'd allow you to wash your eyes out. Mm-hmm. At one point, it got like, this is how hand-holdy we got. It was, they would spray the OC on a paper towel and have the boots pat it on their head, like on their forehead, not their eyes, just on their forehead, to experience the burning sensation and then wash it off. I think since then it's gotten a little more intensive. I think they realized how ridiculous that was, but I don't think they're getting sprayed directly in the eyes anymore. I think it is still getting sprayed across the forehead, which is it's going to impact you, but not the same as a full-on exposure.
Right. Yeah, I remember having to like physically, because did you guys have to do like any like shooting handgun after you got sprayed too?
No. No, we didn't have the shooting. We just had like the striking a bag and handcuffing and simulating like we got on the radio.
We had to shoot our handgun as well at a target that was like probably 10 yards, 10 yards away. But I remember literally sitting there holding like one of my eyes open to shoot. I think you shot a failure drill maybe. Okay. And then you hold. Well, I think they actually made you put the gun down. Yeah, I don't think they made you holster. I think they made you put it down on like something. And they only gave you the 3 rounds or whatever. And then you ran over and then you had to handcuff somebody, and then you could wash off. But the first thing you did after you got sprayed was have the little fighting with the bag or whatever, and fight the guy, and then run up and shoot, and then go over and handcuff somebody and wash off. But
well, I think there were some academies that, and this might have been the State Patrol Academy, but they'll experience OC. They'll also experience
CS.
Oh God, CS. Thank you, CS gas.
Yep.
They'll do failure drills. They'll have to tear their gun apart and put it back together. Just a lot more intensive than anything even you and I went through. But then at the same time, some people are getting their hands held and had safe spaces. And
oh yeah.
Did you hear about this might have been a rumor, but I heard there was like the students were given a yellow card, and if they felt that they were being, like their space was being invaded too much, they could pull out the yellow card like in soccer and have a timeout, or something like that.
Sounds like the Air Force. Oh shit, sorry.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what I heard.
All the guys out there that were in the Air Force, we love you. Just fucking with you. You know who you are. I'm going to take a heat one for that. So I might have a guy in a ghillie suit watching me the next few days. Jesus.
What was your taser experience like?
Fuck shit. Ouch. Something like that, I think. Yeah.
Did you get the probes or the clips? I
got probed. Yeah.
Did you? Full 5 seconds?
Yep. They did. I want to say they put a handgun out in front of me, like a I don't, what the fuck are those things called? brain fart now.
Like the dummy red guns?
The dummy red guns. There we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
They put that out in front of me and tased me, and they wanted me to crawl to it to prove a point that I still could. You know, a taser's only so effective. And they wanted to prove a point that, hey, sometimes this isn't the best option, in hindsight, because, they're like, hey, we're going to tase you. I want you to crawl, because they knew I was a Marine, right? They were going to tase me and make me do all this stupid shit because they knew right off the bat. So they fucking tased me, and then they're like yelling at me to crawl to the gun, and I was able to get to it, but it fucking hurt. But it proves the point that just because you tase somebody doesn't mean that they're like incapacitated. They can still fucking ride the lightning and get up and fight you, or be able to still get to a weapon and cause you some serious issues. So your taser isn't always the end all. You make sure that you realize that, especially at the academy and further down the road in your career.
Yeah, so like my experience, I actually got it at the county that I worked for. They put on a jail school before going to the academy, and it saved them, whatever it was, like $100 or whatever to do it there. But I got the actual gator clips where they clipped it to like my ankle and my hip, and lit me up that way. When I went to the academy, I got to watch everyone else go through it, and that girl that I talked about in the other class that put herself through, she paid for it and had a full-on fucking mental breakdown. Like, students had to like chase her down to make sure she wasn't going to hurt herself. She panicked so much because of it.
What the fuck?
Like, yeah. Like, so like when I talk about some of the things you're going to see, you might see something like that. Like, it was mind baffling.
I think I do recall somebody, but it was another female officer that she got tased, and I'm pretty sure she like lost bodily function and pissed herself. I have
seen a video of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, we're like, oh shit. And she went.
Have you seen the YouTube video of, it's like a montage of all the cops getting tased and like all the ones that farted because of getting tased?
Yeah. Yes. You know what other ones are funny is when like you got the guys that are holding you and you got the guy tasing and they hit the dudes that aren't even being tased, the guys that like are the support, and they hit them.
I thought you were going to say the ones that like they forget to grab the guy and he just fucking face plants.
That's pretty funny too. I saw one where the dude like went into a drywall and went like through it. And I'm like, whoops.
Well, when I went to the jail school, we had a guy that was like bodybuilder, like real big guy. And so they had the support guys on him, but when he went when they tased him, he like instinctively reached down and grabbed the support guy's hip bone, and they all just went to the ground. You just remember going, oh, goddamn, and like squeezing the guy, and then everyone's on the ground.
Son of a bitch.
Turns out that fucking hurts.
That does not feel good. No, so back to CS gas. I'd been CS gassed prior, obviously in the Marine Corps, with the gas mask training. The confidence building of your gas mask. But did you guys do CS gas when you went through?
No, my first experience was on the team, and that was a hell of an experience. We'll put it that way. But yeah, we didn't have that back in the academy.
So we actually did have to go through. We walked through it, like they popped one, and then we had to walk through it. And that was actually the same day and before we got sprayed. So from my understanding, how CS goes is it obviously is going to open your pores. So when we got fucking hit with the OC, that shit fucking really burned, like irritated the skin. And it was a hot ass day. I think it was like July, like middle of July in Iowa, so like super hot. And we got, CS'd and OC'd on the same damn day. So, I mean, I was living in like the water fountain. Like I was literally just soaking in there.
Well, I remember kind of panicking because I'm very, like fair complected. Like I sunburn very, very easily. And I got sprayed with one of the instructor sprays, which was like a higher concentration. I'm pretty sure when he talked about it, he had a hard on, whatever. But he hit me with the spray, and I couldn't open my one eye for the longest time. I thought he got too close with it because they talk about like in the class that if you spray a person too close to their eye, it can actually rupture it. And I was like, it was our Friday. We were supposed to go home right afterwards. And I'm like, how am I going to drive home like an hour and a half, 2 hours away if I can't open my fucking eye?
Right.
And it took a solid hour and a half before I could finally get to the point where I could see.
Oh, so you're the reason why they started making the spray happen like midweek.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah. So you're going to get sprayed, and from my understanding, you're going to get sprayed, the midweek, so that way they can tend to your wounds prior to sending you back in a car. Because that doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense to spray people and then put them in a car to drive home. I mean,
oh yeah, we had guys picking up handfuls of snow and shoving it in their eyes, and
you were there in the
pretty
winter.
Comical. Yeah,
that would have been nice.
Well, but what's the worst part of the OC spray? Do you remember? It wasn't getting sprayed sucked. That is the worst part. What's the second worst part of the OC spray?
When it runs down to your balls. You try to get it off.
Yep, when you take that shower afterwards. Oh, God.
Yeah, I knew that was, obviously I knew that was going to happen. So I tried to do the old lean way forward and hovercraft type, and it didn't work. There's nothing you could do that's going to prevent it from running down there, so.
I can only imagine what that was like for the other sex. That had to be terrible.
Oh, my God, dude. Or erotic. I guess you don't really know.
No.
Oh, dude.
Okay, so we're gonna pop smoke for the second time.
Just kidding.
We're running out of smoke at this point.
Oh, man. No,
I think like the one big thing though to take away from this is you're going to learn a lot. You're going to get a broad like stroke of knowledge coming from the academy. But what a lot of what you're going to pick up on is like book type stuff and maybe like letter of the law type things. Like what is the penal code for indecent exposure? And you're going to learn what goes into the elements of that crime. But don't expect to come out of the academy, whether you're like the worst in the academy or you're top of the class, thinking that you are ready for the street, because FTO is a whole nother world, a whole nother beast that you're gonna have to take on. And the academy is really just kind of preparing you for FTO. It's not preparing you to be a cop.
Yeah, I kind of actually think that it's backwards, in just my personal opinion. Like, I really think that all the people that went through FTO that were in my class prior to going to the academy had that great knowledge that I didn't have at the time, because I didn't go through FTO prior. I literally got hired on, got sent to the academy. So I had no, other than like family, I have a lot of family in law enforcement, knowing like kind of what they've told stories or kind of understanding, all that. But prior to that, I kind of struggled on the educational side of it. I didn't fail or anything, but like it was more difficult for me to do that than it was to compare to the guys who had been working and been through FTOs already. I think that's, in my opinion, it may be backwards, that the state should probably require you to go through field training, or at least a portion of your field training first, and then do the academy, and then maybe come back and finish it. I think that would probably be a good setup for everybody.
I think that hits it right on the head, because I think a lot of agencies are concerned that if we put you through FTO and then send you to the academy, you're going to forget a lot of FTO. But I think, like you said, it is a little backwards, and they probably should split it up where you're going through FTO for a little bit, then going to the academy, then finishing on FTO before you hit the street. Yeah,
I think it would definitely be a benefit for really both parties. I mean, the city, well, all three parties really, the city, the academy, and the officer. Because you get that extra layer of experience in there that would help immensely for the development and understanding while you're in the academy, listening to what they want you to do, and actually having some foundation to understand what they're talking about.
And so like that's, kind of trying to lump this all together, like how we talked about how our academy was probably one of, if not the shortest in the nation. Even if you have an entire group of instructors that are all good-hearted and there for the right reasons, they've got a very limited amount of time to try to teach you all the things you need to know to be prepared for FTO or for the street or however it works out for you. My suggestion, and it would suck because you're going to be away from family a lot more, if you have the option of going to one of those satellite academies, like because you went to the college, or going through the main academy, I would go through the main academy. It's already short enough. You don't want to shortchange yourself even more by going to a shorter academy where you're just you're on the short end of the stick, jumping into your career.
Right. Yeah, I'm not trying to knock those academies, but you really should have to go through, the main academy, or at least one of the other academies that are going to be substantially longer.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I don't feel like you're getting enough. But that's just my opinion, obviously.
Well, I mean, we make fun of the troopers for their academy and making sure their hats are at the right angle and knowing how to write every ticket in the book. But at the same time, they come out of that academy knowing how to write every ticket in the book.
Right.
And they also have a mindset of handling stuff by themselves because they have to.
Oh, yeah.
Once they're on the road by themselves, their nearest backup could be 45 minutes away. So it's fun to poke fun at them and their silly little hats that they're supposed to wear, even if they go into an active shooter situation. But they definitely have their stuff strapped on a little tighter, and I would say they're steps above everyone else.
Yeah, I think you would have to agree with that. I mean, you can try to alpha male this, dick measure it all you want, but 100% of the time, I think that what they're doing at their academy is much more on par with where you need to be at in law enforcement right out of the gate. I think it's just one of those things, as they have to be. I mean, because they may be your backup if you're working in a small town, and
yep.
And you may need their help and their experience and their knowledge that they're kind of just the wealth of that you can use. So, but yeah, get to know your state troopers in your area, because they definitely come back you up and help you. And
I would say, and maybe there's rules against it, but like, I don't want to call it a rivalry, but there was definitely like no communication between my class and the troopers class that was going on at the same time. That's a great time to start to initiate those relationships and those conversations if they allow it. I'm not sure. This is the same academy that wouldn't let their troopers call family for like the first 6 weeks of the academy. So I don't know what their rules are like, but if you get the opportunity to, I would definitely suggest start to create those bridges and those connections.
Yeah. Or even when you're just, kind of standing out there at the academy, the state academy that we went to, and they're doing what they're doing at their academy, and you just holler over there, hey, what's your name? And then, they holler back, Ezekiel, what's your name? Everybody knows what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen that video, that shit's fucking funny.
Fuck you, Tony. Now, I did hear a rumor, if there's any Iowa-born people listening to this show getting ready to go to the Iowa Academy, I guess if you're able to steal that flag the troopers have, you become an automatic legend, and they will pay the consequences.
Yeah.
We were told about that. No one had the balls to try it because I kind of think those guys would have kicked our asses, but apparently
they're lucky that they didn't have an academy class going through when my class went through, because I would have fucking went and stole that thing.
I think they're supposed to guard it like their hats and their guns. It's something. It's crazy.
Oh, I would have done some secret squirrel shit and fucking snuck up right behind them. The ninja's here.
You take it from them while they're in the middle of a run, running with it, and you just sprint off into the woods.
Catch me if you can. Who's that?
That's the captain of the first ever Jamaican bobsled team.
Fuck you, Tony. Oh, dude. It's all in good fun, everybody. Nobody get their panties in a bunch. We love the state troopers.
Getting bones broken. Yeah.
Yeah. So they talk shit back. It's fun. It's a good time. But yeah, man. What else you got? Anything else for the academy?
Just be prepared to have. I mean, it's gonna suck. You're not gonna enjoy every minute that you're there. You're gonna be homesick. especially if you've got a wife and or kids. You're going to miss them like crazy, but you just got to push yourself. Make sure you've got a good relationship with them. Make sure you're taking the time to call them when you can. It's going to go towards your mental health and their mental health. I guess my experience, it was not fun the 14 weeks that I was there, but it wasn't the worst thing I've experienced in my life either. So,
right. Well, and that's the thing, make sure that you make it a point to become friends with the people of your class, because they'll make it go a lot easier for you too, if you're hanging out. But yeah, make sure you're calling home, talking to your kids, talking to your wife. I would say, make sure that you know what you're getting into and your family's getting into prior to, taking on this endeavor. Because it is a lot of time away from your family, a lot of time away from your kids, and it kind of all starts right there at the academy when you're gone. Now, the positive to the Iowa Academy is you get to go home on the weekends. There's that positive. There are other academies where you don't get to go home at all, or like in boot camp, you don't get to go home at all, and the best you get to do is like snail mail right home, where that in law enforcement academy you actually get to go home and see your family on the weekends and hang out, get a little break.
Yeah, my experience, it really sucked because it didn't seem to matter what day I chose to go back to the academy. We had a fucking blizzard. Every week it was a snowstorm. And then it was the same way coming home. White knuckle driving the whole way. That part of it sucked because like I said, I was an hour and a half, 2 hours away. But again, looking back at it, it's over now and you're on to the next chapter.
Yeah, you'll get through it. Nothing to really concern yourself with. Just keep your head down and be good. Don't fuck up and do something stupid. But yeah, you'll get through it. There's no real worries from my perspective for really a whole lot of people. So
yeah. Well, if there's anything that we missed, if there's anything you'd like to know, obviously go over to the www.spinningourgears.com and send us an email if you've got any questions. We'll either reach back out to you through email, or if there's enough of them that come in, we'll maybe do a second episode on the Academy. I hope that you guys learned a lot, or at least picked something up, maybe had a good time, had a chuckle. Yeah, I guess I got nothing else when it comes to the Academy.
I got nothing else as well. I'm pretty excited to release this episode, and hopefully this helps some rookies out understand kind of where they're going and what they're going to do at the Academy, and hopefully it doesn't scare anybody. It might, I guess.
We got guys putting in their resignation letters right now.
Oh my God. Could you imagine that? Well, I guess there's
I listened to Turk and Swagger. I don't want to do this anymore.
Oh man. God. Can't get people to go to the Academy. Can't get people to hire.
Oh yeah. I don't know if we made that mention, but we have expunged our entire list for Superfan. No one worked out. So
damn it.
We're going to have another application process.
Can we find a certified guy or two? You think that would be good?
Well, we don't have any hiring bonuses, but that would be great, yeah.
Oh, I think we should try to pool some money together and offer a $20K signing bonus. That's just my opinion.
$20K?
Yeah,
$20K.
That's where it's going. That's what's happening nowadays.
I was thinking maybe a 20 pack of beer because I don't know.
Well, I'm not paying it. I'm saying we pool our money together. Somebody else pools their money. I'm not doing it.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, they pay us the $20K, and then we can either give it out or not.
Well, on that note, if you want to apply to be a super fan,
or give us $20,000,
I was going to say I can't guarantee you any money, but we have the website www.spinningourgears.com. Make sure to check out Emery Hart Designs as well as Double Tap Designs on Etsy. We've got stickers and koozies in full force. And then please do us a favor and go over to risenwarriorcoffee.com. Show them some love. Like we said before, Turk and Swagger gets you 10% off your first order.
Let's go. Get that 10%, everybody. Absolutely. I'm excited. I hope they're doing well. I know that that's a wonderful company. Obviously, I've done some great research on them, and then have obviously tried their coffee, which is delicious. And I'm I'm not a first time coffee drinker, but I'm really early in the infant stages of drinking coffee. It's a wonderful coffee. So make sure you get out there and check that out. And we appreciate everything they've done for us and our website and so forth. And don't scare me like that again, Turk, because not cool, man. Not cool.
Well, have some coffee and just chill out.
I about jumped through my computer just to, yeah. Whew. What are you talking about? So
I wouldn't do that to you. I'd let you know beforehand.
I appreciate that.
All right, everybody, stay safe, and we'll get through this together.
Have a good one.